Sure.
You can swear, so don't stumble over yourself not to.
So be me.
Yeah, exactly. Just be normal, and I will be too. Believe me, I swear more than anybody. So,
Good boy. I like
and
it.
and if you're ready, we'll just tear through. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. It is CMS Music with Chris Akin, and I, of course, am Chris Akin. And joining me today, you really, if you're a metal fan, you know who this guy is already. You certainly don't need me to intro him. I will, though, anyway. He is the longest of longtime bassists with the mighty Anthrax. You may know him from a couple of other projects that he's done along the way, whether it's Attitudes and Altitudes, and the working with David Ellefson and lots of different projects. But you know him from Anthrax. Let's just be real here. He is here with a brand new book called Fathers, Brothers, and Sons, Surviving Anguish, Abandonment, and Anthrax. He is the great Frankie Bello. Frank, how are you, man?
Chris, what's going on, dude? How are you?
I'm good, man, and it is great to talk to you.
I'm glad you're healthy. I'm glad you're there. I'm glad we're above ground. All the good stuff that we want to hear, right?
Exactly, man. It's in today's world, like we were saying right before we started, today's world, that all by itself is the blessing you can take with you.
Let's take it with us, man. You're above ground. You're good to go. That's the way I look at it these days.
Exactly, man. Well, dude, I got to say, after reading, I haven't finished the book, but I've read most of the book.
Thanks.
Surprised you're above ground, man, for different reasons, obviously, man. I would have, here it is before and after. Before reading your book, you're the wild guy that I don't know much about in Anthrax. After the book, it's like, holy shit, has this guy been through the ringer? I mean, you've really, I give you a lot of credit. I write books myself, and I've written books about divorce and an accident I was in and stuff. So I understand putting out your real stuff.
Yeah.
That being said, man, this had to be very difficult for you to write, no?
It was, difficult / cathartic / freeing. And the weight is kind of lifted. I know you hear that from a lot of people who write books, but for me, it's really because I look at it this way. I've had a good run, Chris. You know what I mean? I've had a good run with the whole band thing. And if people now that if they read the story of my life, which is weird even to say that, just so you guys know, all the slap downs in life that gives you, the peaks and valleys, there was a lot of valleys. So what I guess I'm in the reflective time of my life, knowing that I have a 15-year-old son that I'm raising, and I have to make sure that he knows no matter how many times you get slapped down in life, you have to pick yourself up, brush yourself off, and move on to the next day. Otherwise, you stay down there. Sure. And that's what I've learned, Chris, and I think it's really important. And now that the book is out for a week and a half now, so many people are reading. I'm getting so many letters and comments. Thank you, because I connect with this, and there's people who've lost loved ones in their life, people who've been depressed, all that stuff that I've gone through, people who've had loss of a family member, as I have. My brother was murdered, all that stuff. And they're finding that if I brush myself off, and I say this in the book, if I did it, you can definitely do it. It's not a self-help book, but it's like, at this point, I just want to pay it forward. It's like, dude, I did it, then you can do it. Sure. It's kind of like that.
Well, and man, for anybody that's had success, and obviously you've had great success with Anthrax, it does seem like there is that backstory for just about anybody that has that kind of success. And maybe people don't hear it, maybe it's not as freely heard, but I'm personally a believer that you have success because you've had to fight. Anybody that doesn't have to fight real hard to get it really doesn't feel it to earn it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And you know what, Chris? It makes sense because having whatever you go through in your life, the peaks and valleys, as I call it, you get slapped down enough, that builds a work ethic to make you work harder to get to wherever you want to go. For me, my work ethic is, it has to be like that because that's my life. You always have to scratch and claw. Nothing's handed. Nobody in my family handed me millions of dollars. It doesn't work like that. I'm a blue collar guy from the Bronx. That's the way it was. I grew up, worked in a deli. Look, my dad took off when I was 10 years old. 5 kids. I was the oldest, right? Mm-hmm. Abandonment, welfare, the whole thing. I had to go live with my grandmother because my mom, it wasn't working in that house because we went to a low income housing area, and I got my ass kicked every day. My survival was going to my grandmother's house.
Right.
where Charlie Benante, who I'm related to, he's my uncle, lived. So my grandmother is Charlie's mom.
Okay.
She took me in, and I saw Charlie, how great he was at 4 years old playing drums. At 4 years old, this dude
Right.
was awesome. It was a big influence on me. I wanted to play after I saw him. I said, I want to do something. I like this. I like the way that feels. That's a good vibe, and that inspired me to play. And so Charlie and I grew up kind of like brothers in the same house, and we jam all the time. And it was a great oasis for me. It was my safe home, no pun intended.
Sure.
It was really a great atmosphere for me to grow up in. Coming from all the stuff I came from, I'm very thankful. And this says it all. My grandmother, Tina Babes, we call her, rest her soul. She was a very big influence on my life.
Sure. Now, I have to ask, how did she react when you decided to go into music? Because you know as well as I do, you come home that one day and you say, "Yep, I'm going to be a rock star," and every single person around you is like, "Go get a job," So how was that perceived?
Well,
When you did that?
Chris, the great thing about my grandmother is she's a very free and loving person. So she wanted us to follow our dreams. You have to look, the bottom line is with me, I knew I had to get my schoolwork done. So I graduated. I went to the high school. I went to all through high school. I actually graduated when I got in the band Anthrax. I auditioned and they were going on tour. So I was still in high school, dude. Right. So I was still in high school at 17 years old. So it was my final year. And this program that my school had, this high school in the Bronx, had where you can double up your credits for half a year and you can graduate 6 months early. And I knew Anthrax was going on tour and I wanted to do that tour.
Nice.
So I got in the band and I made sure, dude, I doubled up. So I went in like 8 o'clock in the morning and stayed till like 4:30 in the afternoon, made sure I doubled up on everything, got all my credits, graduated 6 months early, and went on tour with Anthrax. And I call it the College of Anthrax. But going back to my grandmother, she knew I had a great work ethic that way. I knew I had to finish my schooling. I thought that was important. And having Charlie in the house, being such a great talent, and so that was my paved way in. So for me to follow suit what Charlie was doing, it was an easy thing, and she wanted to see us succeed. And it's a very poignant thing for me because I remember going through the whole career of Anthrax. This is all in the book.
Sure.
It was so great to have my grandmother, who passed unfortunately with cancer, with lung cancer, a woman who's never smoked a day in her life,
Ugh.
to have her at the quintessential Anthrax show, Yankee Stadium, in a box. We had her up in a luxury box watching her two boys,
Right.
her grandson and her son, play Yankee Stadium, which is, for me in my lifetime, the biggest highlight we've had so far.
Sure. It's absolutely the pinnacle. And it's great that you had the moment with her, that it didn't happen too late,
Exactly. Because after that, then, the cancer took its course and
Sure.
it was rough, and it's all in the book. And I helped her, I brought her to chemo, and it was a terrible time. Like a lot of people go through the same thing.
Sure.
So people will understand. There's a lot of connections in this book, Chris. That's what the people understanding. It's about family. It's about growing up in a metal band. I have a family member in the metal band. Charlie Benante is literally my family member. And again, there's a lot of great rock and roll stories. There's Pantera. We have a lot of great Pantera stories, Metallica, just a lot of fun Kiss stories. I did this because it needed to be said, and I wanted to celebrate the women in my life. And it's a dedication to my brother who passed also.
Sure. And that's another piece of your story that is truly, sad, but an amazing your take on it is pretty amazing, that you did, at least book wise. And again, I said I haven't read the whole thing, but I've read most of it. You don't come off as greatly bitter as I think most people would be for something so horrific. You came across almost, I don't want to say enlightened, but not just raging angry. And surprised me a little bit, to be honest.
No, I'm glad it comes off like that, because you kind of deal with it every day. Just for the people that are watching this and listening to this right now, my brother, unfortunately, March 25th, 1996, was murdered. He was murdered in the streets of the Bronx. The assailant the alleged murderer got away with it, and I went off the deep end after that.
Right.
I went dark, and I say this in the book, but, and I say this because people have to know this. My wife didn't even know about this story because I didn't tell anybody what I was doing after my brother's murder. I kind of snapped after I saw my brother under the sheet, and you could read the details of it all
Sure.
when you read the book. I kind of snapped when I saw, it's like a Law and Order murder scene is what you
Sure.
see. My brother was under the sheet, and all that was hanging out were his new sneakers that I realized he just bought, but there was blood on it, and that still scarred my head.
Wow.
And I think that made me snap. And this was, I think we had a tour plan. I was in Anthrax, and I just blocked everything out, and I went dark, and Anthrax didn't matter. Family didn't matter. All I wanted was revenge.
Right.
And for the next 2 weeks, and this is the God's honest truth, I went to that same area and I hunted. And I talked to the wrong people. I got things that I should not have had in my hands because I've never shot a gun in my life.
Right.
I was all ready. I was stalking. I was staking out. I was staking out like people do outside of places, and ready. Fortunately, 2 weeks in, after apparently alleged person who did this moved. I heard he was in hiding. 2 weeks after it, I was thinking, as I was sitting on one of the stakeouts, I was just sitting outside, waiting outside this coffee shop, and I had the thought of my mother. I said, "How did I get in this? How did I get in this place?"
Right.
And I thought, "What is my mom going through right now?" It was right here. And then I said, it came to me. He's like, "Look, if I do this, it's going to come out one of two ways. Either there's going to be retribution, and I'm dead.
Right.
Retribution straight out. That more than likely that would have happened, or I'm going to go to jail." So all I had in my head, and when it opened up to me, it was like, all right, she's going to lose another son either way. And that kind of made me, slap me silly. He's like, "Get up. You got to get out of this. You have to get out of this." And my brother, I had him in my head too. He's like, he would just bitch slap me and say, "Dude, go back home. You aren't this guy. Leave it alone." And I know my brother would have said that. And that's what happened. I pulled it away, went into therapy right after that because I knew I went dark, dude, and I was scared for who I was. And that's the truth. So again, that's what people are relating to in the book too, because I know this is a really serious issue we're talking about here.
Sure.
People are coming back with their losses and seeing how I got out of it and saying, if Frank could do it, then maybe I can do it, and just giving them a chance. So I love connecting like that.
Absolutely. And to the point I was trying to make, I guess I'm trying to make the point at the end of it. You were able to, I don't want to say let it go, because you don't ever let that go, but you put it in its place. You kind of put it in its place, compartmentalized in your head.
It's right here, Chris.
Yeah.
It's literally right here. It's always there, right? It's always this little cloud right here. But it's, you keep it at bay. You don't let it in. What happens when you go into therapy, they give you these tools, how to adjust your mind.
Sure.
That's what happens. And I have to credit, because I listen to a lot of Howard Stern.
Sure.
And he's been in therapy for a long time. And it really, I've been a fan of his since the beginning. So he's always been in therapy. And I had that as, it's like, man, Howard can get into this, then I could probably, it made it okay to go to therapy,
Mm-hmm.
I said, if it's helping him, maybe it can help me, because I'm a fucking whack job right now. And
Right.
I was really worried, dude. There's nothing worse when you don't know yourself and then you don't know what you're capable of, dude. I've never shot a gun in my life.
Okay.
Never. Not interested. No offense to anybody who likes it. I don't. For me, it just didn't. I didn't want it.
Right.
And I was the exact opposite guy of what I was. That's
Right.
the scary part, and there was no controlling it.
And the other, and probably not even something that you consciously thought about, but you live a life where you go so up and down on adrenaline. You hit the stage, you're going 5,000 miles a minute, way more than anybody else.
Yeah.
You live a life where you can take yourself up to that level, where a lot of people, that's a big adjustment that maybe scares them, where you could get that adrenaline going, and that's kind of what you do. No?
Kind of interacted there. It's a good point, Chris. It really is, because that point you can get right up. You're going, it's your time. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God. And that's the scary part. The scary part is that when I go on the stage, I kind of know what I'm going into. This, I didn't know it, but the scary part, Chris, was I didn't care.
Right.
It didn't matter. And nothing, my family, the whole thing, the Anthrax thing, nothing mattered. And I'm not a tough guy. I'm not being bravado boy here.
Sure.
That was just the fact. It made me snap when seeing him under that sheet. It fucked me up. I'm
I
just
get
being
it.
honest.
Yeah.
And I don't want anybody to go through that. I pray nobody ever has to go through that. But it did happen to me. And maybe by me talking about this, and this is my therapeutic session here, maybe by me going through it, maybe people that hopefully not as dramatic as that, going through tough times, seeing that, well, Frank went through this, maybe I can brush myself off and move on,
Sure.
hopefully.
No doubt, man. Well, dude, I want to circle back, and boy, there's a lot of circling back to ugly stuff here, but I want to circle back to the stories about your dad leaving for a minute.
Sure.
Not so much him leaving, but you've made it very clear in the book, and you've even said it here a couple times. You've got a 15-year-old son, and a big part of the book deals with getting through abandonment. That being said, you're a musician in a band that's always on tour.
Yes.
And that trying to find the balance between what you feel was awful for you and making sure it doesn't happen to your kid, I have to imagine is probably one of the toughest struggles that you face day to day now. No?
Great question, Chris. Yeah, it's a balancing act. It's a balancing act. And just so you know, I had my kid late in life because of that. Realize, and my wife, I was with my wife. We were married for a while. I mean, and I had my kid when I was 39 years old. So
Wow.
and he's 15 now. So it's a real deal reality check for me. And I made sure because man, thankfully now Anthrax is at the point in our lives, in our career, where we've paid a lot of our dues, and we are able to pick and choose the tours and how long we want to be on those tours.
Right.
So we're all family guys in the band. Charlie has a kid, Scott has a kid. So we really make sure we're the best dads we can be. So for me, it really works out well. And we want to be home for the most part. And really, when we tour, it has to be right. It has to be specific times, and making sure our families can handle it. And look, and this great technology thing, well, we didn't have in the 80s and even the 90s, we didn't have the FaceTime thing, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
That makes life a whole lot easier. Not the same as being home, but the face-to-face vibe goes a long way. And I could talk to my son and how was your day and all that stuff. It's very important. But this is what we've chosen for a living. So I'm very fortunate. I know how lucky I am to be able to make a living in this business, especially now. So this is how I feed my family. This is my job, and so it's the balancing act, right? The yin and yang.
Sure. Does your son have any aspirations to jump into this? And if he did, what would you tell him? Would you tell him yay, or would you tell him no way, not the way it is now?
I think he loves music. He's a music lover. When Brandon comes home from school today, I'll pick him up later. He'll come home, headphones go right on. He's rocking out. He's walking around the house. He's singing every song. That's whatever he's into. He's into a bunch of different. He's into hip hop. He's into metal. He's into everything, which I love. I'm glad that he's opening his horizons, which is great. But I put guitars around. He doesn't play guitar. He sings a lot. He's got actually a really nice voice. He has a good tone. But I just leave guitars around. I don't want to say, here, you do this. I'm not going to push him. I just leave guitars strategically around my house to maybe build the inspiration. And I'm always around the house, just playing everywhere. So I think he's definitely into it. And if he wants to do it, absolutely, as long as the schooling's done. And I know I sound like the old school dad there, but that has to be instilled, because I want a backup plan, because in this world, that's so important.
Right.
I sound like a father here, but that is the truth, because I had that work ethic. I needed to get my diploma, at least my diploma. And if I wasn't going to go to college, because I went straight into the College of Anthrax, and it's been nonstop since then. That I got fortunate. I got lucky with that.
Sure, no question. Now, I didn't pick it up if it's said in the book or not. Maybe I just haven't gotten there yet. But is your father still alive, or did he pass, or do you know?
And there's no disrespect. I don't even know the dude. You know what I mean? I heard he's around somewhere. I don't pay attention. Here's what I do. I guess I compartmentalize things.
Sure.
That's all the way back there. Like something I don't even bring up for me, because I don't need it. What happens is you adapt to life without.
Sure.
I'm one of those guys who cut people if anything goes wrong in our lives. I cut it out,
right,
and feed on the positive. I don't go negative.
Okay.
It's not worth my time. Life, I found out when my brother passed, life is not even that long. It's
Right.
that long.
Right.
So I want to enjoy each moment, and there's no time for the negativity. And I won't, if it even attempts to come into my life, I kind of block it out.
So you never had that big successful Anthrax moments where you were like, "Hey, fuck you, Dad! Look what I did."
You know, this, it's not even about that. It's like for me, it's about independence and saying yes. Again, this is the part of the book. This is a big story in the book. I brush myself off, and I'm fucking doing whatever I want to do. And thank God for the career I've had, and really, I'm very thankful for that. But yeah, I want to reach the peak, whatever that is, in spite of being put in that position. So there's a lot of people that are writing into me, which is great, about abandonment and having been left, and how they want to make the best life for themselves. Maybe they can get, I don't care if it's one person that can get inspired from my story and move on to get to that peak that they want. That's what's important to me now, because I don't want to see people feel like shit. I'm tired of it. I see there's too much negativity around. Look at the COVID thing it's done to us.
Amen.
I'm just tired of it. And I want positivity, and you need to put it out there. Really, it's important.
No, I totally agree. Well, let's get to something that could be a positive, that being new Anthrax music.
Yeah.
I talked to John Dene, I don't know, maybe a month ago at most. And he told me flat out, you probably saw it on Blabbermouth, that he had not heard any music, and there was nothing that he had heard at all, and he didn't know what was going on. So I will ask you, what is going on? Is there music? Is there ideas? Is there anything close to coming?
Here's Chris, and I can tell you this straight from my publicity agent, who before this interview said, don't talk about Anthrax writing, right?
Okay.
Because she wants to keep everything tight, because yes, I can be honest with you, we are writing.
Okay.
We are writing a record, which is great, and I'm very happy. But if I say any more, and it's nothing like a veil or anything like that, it's nothing secretive. We just want to just do our own thing at our own pace. But yes, we are absolutely working hard and psyched. And the word heavy is good.
Very good. Awesome. Because I'll just tell you, it's time.
I'm with you. I'm absolutely. I can't wait. Look, next year at this time, dude, I want to be talking about different things. I want to be talking about tours. I want to be talking about records, all that good stuff. But I think this is a really good time, an angry time for metal. It's really good to write some riffs right now, because everybody's got this angst and ready to fucking go.
Exactly.
I think that's all very good for riff writing and songwriting for the metal crowds and metal bands.
And for book writing, as you've proven right now, as you've got, and just one more, or one or two quick ones about the book that have really nothing to do with content, but you worked with one of my personal friends, with Joel MacGyver, who's just the king, man. I'm so envious of how that guy can spit out a book that's damn near word perfect.
He's incredible.
It's amazing. So how did you know Joel, or were you introduced?
As you know, through Bass Player magazine, of course. I've known Joel for quite a long time. We've been, Joel is so meticulous, and I said this in another interview because I just talked to Joel at the time. We're pretty much in contact every day. And he said to me that, do you realize we started to talk about writing this book 8 years ago? 8 years ago.
Wow.
And I just brought it up to him. I said, because he did the Dave Ellefson, my friend Dave Ellefson, he did his book. I said, that's great. You do great. Well, aside from his other great work, I said, dude, so whenever you're ready, let's do a book. And I just planted it there. And then we just tried to look for scheduling. That's all it was, dude. I was always on tour. He's writing another. It was always like that. COVID hit, man. I was sitting in this seat, Chris,
right,
emailing. This might be. I just said to him, I'm just letting you know, I'm in my basement. I'm playing, I'm writing riffs and stuff, like I'm writing music. That's good. But this might be the time, dude. It just so happened. It opened up, and the session started. I had a big box of tissues right here, crying my eyes out for a lot of this book. And again, some of them for happy tears, because we were laughing our asses off with some of the stories. Because the great thing about Joel MacGyver, he's great at igniting a story in my head that I thought was long gone.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just don't remember. And one phrase, one line, whatever it is, one person that could open up a story, and all of a sudden this stuff started flowing out. And fun stories that kind of I was living them again.
Sure.
Thankfully. I mean, the painful stories were crushing to relive, but the fun stories, the Pantera stories, the Dimebag, all that grace, the Vinnie Paul, You know, all the Kiss stories with Gene Simmons, who wrote the foreword of my book. I'm very proud to say that. I'm still pinching myself with that. That's incredible that it comes full circle, me being such a diehard Kiss fan and Gene fan, that he writes an amazing foreword to my book that I'm just
it's a
very
big deal.
grateful.
I mean, he doesn't lend himself to anybody, not really.
No, and that's another great thing. Joel hit me with that one day. He goes, "What do you think about Gene Simmons writing a forward?" I just like, get out of here. There's no way he'll do it. I know Gene a long time, and I love him, and we're friends, and he's a hero of mine. I just didn't think. He goes, Joel said, let me just give him a call and tell him it's for you. He did this, dude. He did it. It's a poignant, beautifully written forward that I never heard Gene talk like that about his dad. I didn't know the whole story. I knew he had a beautiful mom that he loved, and I met her once. She's a beautiful woman, very nice, and rest her soul. But I didn't know that story with Gene, and it hit home for me. And to be in my book is an honor. It's an honor.
Sure, definitely. And it's just one last. It's been several years now, but has there been a bigger loss in your mind in the bass playing world than Lemmy?
No. It's tough. Cliff was hard.
Cliff was tough too. Yeah.
Cliff was tough, but Lemmy was tough because I've done so many. Anthrax has done so many tours with Motorhead. We all became close, band and crew. So Lemmy, and there's a great story in the book. I don't know if you got up to this part yet in the book of Lemmy. When we were on tour, I could tell you guys this, listening and watching this. One of my favorite times with Lemmy in my life was a fanboy time. We toured with Motorhead, Anthrax Motorhead. It was a long tour, so I would take advantage of how lucky I was to be on tour with Motorhead. I would watch their sound checks from the monitor board on the side of the stage, right? So I'd watch this every day, and they do different songs, which is kind of cool, you know? So I'd be like I'm a fan. I'm a headbanger, right? I'm into it. So this is about, I say, 6 feet from Lemmy on the mic. I'm just watching everything he does because I'm a student. I'm a bass student. I'm watching the way he picks, how fast he picks, what he does to his sound. I want to learn everything. So this is every day I'm doing this pretty much. So one day, Lemmy's doing his thing, right? And they stop, right? And he looks at me because I see him looking at the corner of his eye during the song. And he looks at me, they stop. He goes, "Hey, come here." I'm fucking petrified. I see he's bringing me to the stage in front of his mic. Dude, this is what happens. I don't know if you read this in the book. This is all in the book. So I go to the stage. I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's Lemmy calling me over. So I'm going. So I walk over. He takes off his bass. Puts it on me. Lemmy's bass, dude. So, right? It's incredible. So I'm freaking the fuck out. Lemmy just put his bass on me. He goes, puts out a pick. Here. Points to his amps. He goes, go for it. You know, go for it, right? Dude, I don't know if you've ever been anywhere near an amplifier that Lemmy plays through his amps. It's the loudest thing in life. So I compare it in the book to, you know, the movie Back to the Future, Michael J. Fox, in the beginning, where there's that big speaker and he hits the chord and he gets blown back.
Right.
That was me, dude. So, you know, Lemmy knows everything he's doing at this point. So he puts it on me and he's just anticipating. He's just watching me. So I go up to Lemmy's amp and I go, I thought I was trying to be cool. I wanted to look cool in front of Lemmy. So I went up and I hit the power E chord. Dude, I took like 3 or 4 steps back. It blew me the fuck back. Literally blew me back. Blew me back. It was so fucking loud. I've never heard anything on any stage louder than that. And so I fall back 3 or 4 steps and I see Lemmy. He's laughing. It's just like that Lemmy laugh. It was so fucking awesome. So he goes, "Like it?" I said, "I fucking love it. Thank you so much." Because I checked it out. It was great. Then I played some Motorhead stuff. It was great. But then he takes the bass back. He goes, and he picks something out of his pocket. He goes, holds me up a pick, and he goes, "Here, these are the ones I play with, not the ones on the mic stand." I still have that pick, dude. Nice. That's how special Lemmy was to me and to everybody. Let's face it, he's a legend.
Dude, and the interesting thing about Lemmy, I honestly think his persona might be bigger than his music, as great as the music was. I'll just tell you, I've written 6 books. Every one of the books is dedicated to my grandfather, my father, and Lemmy.
I love that.
Because for me personally, I live my life the same way of don't give a fuck what anybody says. do it your way and it'll work it'll work itself out. And I mean, that's probably bigger than the ace of spades or overkill or, you know, whatever, you know.
It's a way of life. It's an absolute way of life. I love that. Look, we all love Lemmy. I've always loved Lemmy. I will always love it. I'll always be influenced by Lemmy in my playing and in my persona, because I want to live life to its fullest. Lemmy lived life to its fullest. And that's what I love about him. I mean, he just went for it. And be yourself. He taught me as an aspiring bass player to be yourself, play your way. And I thought that was important. It's still that way of life, that great sound he had. Listen to that, man. It's just, that was quintessential Lemmy. That was Lemmy, man. Yeah. Nobody will ever be like Lemmy. He was awesome. He was a legend. He's
totally agree. Well, in some people's circles, Frank Bello is a legend as well.
Thank you. I'm a student. I just want to learn, man. I want to keep learning. Well, thank you.
There's a lot of people that have learned from you, man. And I know you know that, man, obviously with the Big Four and Anthrax and, you know, all the different things that you've done have been, you know, for metal fans have been just what has entertained us for 35, 40 years, you know, and you're doing it still, man. Brand new book is out now. Fathers, Brothers, and Sons, Surviving Anguish and Abandonment and Anthrax came out November 2nd. I strongly urge everybody to go get it. And Frank, where should we tell people to go to pick up this book and to
you can get it at, and this is embedded in my brain, at our publishing, Rare Bird. It's Rare Bird Lit.
Okay.
You know, RARE Bird, BIRDLIT, rarebirdlit.com. And you can get it on Amazon, either one. The rarebirdlit.com has signed, they have them signed, so you can get them there if you want it signed.
Awesome. Very good, man. Well, one more time, the book is called Fathers, Brothers, and Sons, Surviving Anguish, Abandonment, and Anthrax. And Frank, as always, man, it's great to talk to you here on CMS Music.
Same here, Chris. I'm glad you're feeling well, dude. Stay healthy, okay, brother?
I'm going to try.
All right, man.
All right, brother. All right, real quick, dude, before you go, I'm going to pop you to full screen and turn some of these little things up. I just need 2 quick IDs from you.
Sure.
And I will get out of your way. Dude, I know you don't remember this at all, but I'll tell you a very funny story that involves you, me, and Pantera. For all of us, it was at Rhodes Arena in Akron. Okay. And it was you guys, Sebastian Bach, and Pantera. And I knew Dime and I knew Phil forever. I still keep up with Phil. And I was invited by the Pantera boys to come out, and we got there at like 2-3 o'clock, and you guys were all there, and like the roadies were there. Everybody was just pounded drinks, getting just hammered. And I mean, I'll drink, but I don't drink like that. You know, I don't think most human beings do.
No,
but we all just got hammered. And then we're out and we're watching the show and we're just trashed and we're like, yeah, this is the fucking best. Yeah, it's the best. Fast forward a month or so, I forget what magazine it was, like Rip or whatever. Some magazine reviewed that show and just wrote about this show sucked because all the band guys were all fucked up. And
really?
of all three bands, they were hammering Sebastian, they were hammering Anthrax, and they were hammering Pantera because everybody's fucked up. I was like, holy shit, I was there. You know, I was like, I was part of that fucked up. I could not have been happier. I have the article here somewhere.
That's great. I didn't even know about that, but I remember getting fucked up. Like that was quite a lot on that tour.
Yeah, it was nonstop, man. From the minute I got there at 3 o'clock until we went to our seats. And then after, the Pantera boys went to another club and dragged us to another club down in Canton to go and party some more. It was like, Jesus.
Never ending party, dude. Believe me, my liver was, you'll read the rest of the book. You'll understand what I say about that. Cause I was in desperate times when I went home from that thing.
Oh, I can imagine. I can't even imagine touring with those boys.
That was every night, dude. That was every night. That's the scary part. You had to really come down, really, because I mean, some of those parts, I mean, I didn't want to get fucked up to go on stage, and I had to pull back on that too because I never drank before going on stage, and I still don't. But that tour was different, but we had no choice because Dime would come in with the black suits, man. Woo!
I was gonna say Dime didn't even really know me that well at that point, and he was like, you're not back here if you're not drinking a black tooth. You know, I was like, okay, whatever.
Let's go. Absolutely. That was the story of my life on that tour.
And the weirdest thing was, I mean, you know, dude, you're in bands. You've seen this a million times. It's not usually a band guy running around chasing people with drinks. And Dimebag would be, if you drank it and he saw you were holding an empty cup, he's like, give me that cup, you know, get you enough. It was
get your pull, baby. Yep. It was the best time. I mean, look, they were the rock and roll. They were the heavy metal Van Halen. I always say that. So for me, that was the party of parties on that tour. I mean, we did 2 legs of that thing, and I came home gray. It's in the book, dude. You'll read it.
Very good, man. Well, dude, let's get these IDs so I can get out of your way, man.
Let me write this up. Let me write this up so I don't fucking fuck it up.
No problem.
Go ahead.
The first one is, it's Frank Bello of Anthrax. You're watching heavy metal television.
I like that. Heavy metal television. Right.
Yeah, and it's just what you'd think it is, too. 24/7 metal.
That's good, man. I like
videos and shows and stuff. So, and then the second one, if you want to write them both down, the second one, same exact thing, except for you're listening to the classic metal show.
Sure.
And whenever you're ready, take them away.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Frank Bello from Anthrax here, and you're watching heavy metal television. Turn it up! Cool. Hey, what's up? This is Frank Bello from Anthrax, and you are listening to the Classic Metal Show.
Perfect. All right, sir. Quick, not that quick, but easy. And I hope.
Yes, that was great, dude. Thank you for the great questions. Really, and you know what? You brought back some great memories for me. So thank you. I enjoyed that.
Very good, man. Well, dude, I'll make sure that that the publicist has everything as far as
they
can share all this stuff out. And I will obviously see you the next time you're in Cleveland, because I haven't missed an Anthrax show in 25 years. So
thanks, Chris. I hope it's sooner than fucking later, because we're all tired at this point. We want to get out there. So hopefully next year we'll be rocking.
Sounds like a plan, man.
Take care of yourself. Be safe. All right,
Frankie. Take care, buddy.
All right, bro. Bye.
See ya.
I gotta.